I wanna give a special shout out to Nigel, especially because he was the one that mentored me to get my promotion 2 years ago. So it's a great loss for Sangha University that Nigel has gone down south, but I'm sure that he has given more opportunities to mentor more people down south as well. So this is just a shout out to you, Nigel. Okay, so without further ado, thank you for that introduction, Mark. I just want to share with you guys what I am about to share today. All right, so here's my screen, and this is my slide. Right, so social media marketing activities on brand equity. And if you can see on the top left, top right of the screen is my QR code. I do tell people now that I don't give out my physical cards anymore, because I find that giving out physical cards is a waste of trees. So now I just get people to, now that we have to scan everywhere to go into places, you already have a QR code reader anyway, so you might as well just scan a QR code and just save my contact inside your phone. I'm sure every one of you are adjusting to the new normal. And the World Economic Forum is saying that there is no going back to normal after COVID-19. Digital age is going to be the next wave of how we're going to live our lives and how we are going to interact with each other, and even companies as well have to follow this same suit. So I recently came back from China 2 years ago, or last year in fact, and I saw how China is moving to the next wave so far ahead of many of the Southeast Asian countries that it shocked me, and it also blew me away at the same time. I feel that that China has the right recipe of moving forward in terms of the digital age. And I think that companies today need to also think about how to engage in this digital platform to talk with their consumers. Now, of course, back in the old days, whenever we wanted to build a brand, it's always about what do we want ourselves to represent, of course, yeah. Henry Ford said that in the turn of the century, when he wanted to come up with a car, he said that any customer could have a car as long as it's painted black, But that's how Henry Ford wanted to brand his particular brand of cars, yeah. As long as it's black with 4 wheels, that is a car, and that's how he defined a car is. But the question is now, does mass marketing, in terms of how we start from the company side, can work today when the power is shifted towards the consumers, because the online space has given the consumers the power to change this dynamic, this relationship. And that is why we need to start thinking about how we can tap into this digital space, okay? Just a little bit of background, if some of you do not know about the CBBE model, the consumer-based brand equity model. It starts out with understanding at the bottom, what is your brand, what is your identity? And then you have to create meaning through some performance and imagery that you create for your consumers, so that they see you, they know who you are, and then after that, they will form their judgments about you in terms of their response. Of course, the ultimate end game is to build the relationship between the brand and the consumers. This is the primary outlook on what the consumer brand equity, consumer-based brand equity model is about, yeah? To start out with building a brand, creating meaning, getting responses, and then finally building the relationship. So how does this work in a digital space? Now, before I move on, I would like to get you guys to do something for me. I always do this whenever I have, what do you call this, a webinar talk. I don't like to talk and just talk, but I really like to get people to interact with me. So I've given you a poll online. I would like everybody to go to this online poll right now And what you guys are going to do is you guys are going to help me co-brand. Okay, me, like saying me. Yeah. So I just want to share with you how I do this. So basically, you're going to see this, and all you need to do is just show me what picture represents me the best. I mean, out of the short time that you've spoken to me now. And just click on that. Yeah, hopefully it works. And based on the responses at the end, I will show you the full responses at the end while I'm talking, and then we will I will change my profile picture on my Facebook based on what you guys have chosen for me. Okay. Why does everybody like the horns? I don't know why. Okay. Anyway, let me just continue on with my slides while you guys are doing that. All right. Where am I? Yeah. Okay. So this is just a very simple example of what I mean by co-branding. Yeah, this is just a quick, simple example. You see, even though we are separated in geographical terms, right, the internet has just given us so many different types of platforms and tools for us to do co-branding. It's not moving. Okay. Right, let me just put everything up. Okay, so we know that adults spend considerable amount of time on social media. I'm sure all of you here spend some time on social media. And most of us spend our time on social media when we are on the go, which means that we always have our social media apps in our phones, and those of us who are very savvy on our phones, we always tend to have at least 2 or 3 social media on our phone. Personally, I have about 4 on my phone. And this is actually a chance for brands, yeah, big brands, to create an identity or a salience, right? Marketeers who perceive social media activities as a chance for engagement, and this engagement helps the businesses to create meaning and brand. You can brand yourself on the digital space as well as you brand yourself on the offline space as well. But because digitally there are so much more opportunities, that's where you can use this to create more branding meaning, yeah, for your brand. And of course, when you have that awareness of a certain brand, you don't just mass market yourself to people. You have to find a way to interact with people. And this helps to build that experience. Use whatever tools in line for you to create a chance for them to respond, like just what I did with you guys just now, right? I'm not just talking, but I'm getting you guys to respond to me. And this is how I can create an experience for all of you. At the same time, engagement in social media as well allows people to feel as if they, wow, I am part of something. I am part of building your brand. I am part of creating something for your brand. So when you create something, you will feel that there is this sense of ownership, and there is this sense of belonging, and therefore that appreciation for that creation creates more subtleness in terms of a stronger relationship between the brand as well as the consumers. Okay, so my first research question on this particular research was, does brand experience mediate the relationship between perceived marketing activities at the start and also building a strong consumer brand equity? Yeah, consumer-based brand equity. In terms of my second research questions, I only had 2. I wanted to find out whether I'm looking at companies. Companies create their own social media brands. Yeah, a lot of companies create their own social media brands. In fact, 92% of big brands now can build their own social media companies. But the good thing about this is not only big brands can play on this stage. Small brands now, even SMEs, they can now, I will call it, level the playing field. Because back then, when there's only television and big billboards, only the big brands can afford to pay for those spaces. But with the digital space, anyone can now have that same platform. Anyone with minimal or even no budget can play on that same playing field. A second thing is that social media allows for activation of brand value consciousness, which means that if we are smart and if we understand how to create a customer journey, we don't just engage our customers at a single point, you know, like what we say back then, what is the first moment of truth, yeah? For a customer to go into a store and they see a brand or a product that they like, that to them is the first moment of truth. That is the aha moment for them to want to buy something. However, in the online space, there is no such thing anymore because it can happen in any stage. So it is really, really up to the companies to decide or to be smart enough to activate all these little touch points in the customer journey so that you will bring the customer from one stage to the next stage to the next stage and finally creating more resonance with the brand. Social media affects consumer spending positively. Now, besides bringing them from one stage to the next, it is also important that while you're bringing them from one stage to the next, to create a strong story, not just for the customers, but also together with the brand. How do you create a brand story with the customer? Yeah. And these experiences will encourage more interaction. Okay, it's just the same way as how you built an online game, for example, an RPG game, right? A lot of brands now go into gamification because that is one way of building strong relationships with consumers. So the thing is, how can we use that now in the space of a commercial setting? Social media is all about engagement. It's all about creating strong relationships. Yeah. So if we can build that brand together with the consumers, then we will allow them to feel very good about themselves. And you know how people are on social media, okay? I call this the social media craziness. They always want to tell people of good things online. They always want to share good things online. And that's how you could get followers and create sharing. So this is where I say that, does co-creation behavior moderate the relationship between perceived social media marketing activities and brand experiences, which means the higher the co-creation activity, therefore the stronger the relationship between social media marketing activities and brand experience. I use the theory, my team and I, all right, we use the theory called the stimulus organization theory, which basically says that as long as you use social media marketing activities as a stimulus to stimulate people's idea to want to engage, then you create that strong brand experience in terms of the organism, and finally activate and create a really, or upgrade the pyramid of the consumer-based brand equity in terms of their response. The more that they respond, the better, okay? So people are at different stages of digital savviness. Some are digital natives, some are digital migrants. As a brand, you have to cater for these different portfolios of consumers. And with the digital space now, with AI, blockchain technology, and so on and so forth, it is easy to cater and personalize things for the consumers at the different stages, right? And you help them along. Everybody is going at a different pace, so you help them along in terms of their pace. This is basically the model that I used in terms of the research model, where you notice I put the co-creation there as a moderator. And of course, I said brand experience is, of course, the main thing that will mediate consumer-based brand equity. So one of the things that we did as a team, we of course used purposive sampling because we wanted people to first have an engagement with a brand first, yeah, on an online brand. And we wanted to study university students first, yeah, as a step. So there was a selected brand from the university students as a frame of reference for them to answer the questions. So the constructs that we used were all adoption of scales based on the constructs that was on the model that you see. And we established the measurement model was good. And of course, we use Smart PLS and also SPSS in the initial stages to do our structural equation modeling. Now, so what did we find out? Of course, choice of mobile devices among students especially, they are always on their smartphones. Why? Because even if they are on the move, they do not want to be away from social media. It's kind of like social media takes over their life right now, okay? Especially those on Instagram and TikTok. The research model is very consistent in terms of its measures, conversion, validity, and discriminant validity. That means all the measures that we use was confirmed in terms of yes, the measures are good measures, and we also did the hypothesis testing through the validation of through bootstrapping. But what we found out in terms of results was, yes, the social media marketing activities had a positive influence on brand experience and the brand equity, because when there is a construction of positive views on social media, it will strengthen the brand's connectivity to the consumers. However, one of the interesting things that we found, before that, we also found there was a mediating role of brand experience on SMMA and CBBE, which means that social media marketing activities are very crucial in building strong brand experiences. So the brand experiences actually enhances the CBBE equity model as well. Now, this is the interesting thing that we found. We found that there was an absence of moderating effect of co-creation. Yeah, remember we hypothesized that the stronger the co-creation, then the stronger the positive relationship, but we didn't find this at all. Now, this was interesting to us, and we were like, of course, at first we were flabbergasted, like, oh, no, why did we found this? But as researchers, we kept our cool, we kept our calm, and we found out there's actually a reason behind it. Okay. Now, I don't know how many of you here you can raise your hand or clap your hands or whatever. How many of you here have very, very outspoken students? You can just like raise your hands or clap your hands. How many of you here have very, very outspoken students? Okay, yeah, okay, yes, Nigel, you have very outspoken students. I'm one of them, right? So it's quite interesting because I'm going to just talk about the co-creation, yeah. Because I noticed that students or young people, when they go online, they don't just give positive comments, because they also have the right to give negative comments as well. So what we found out was the negative and the positive comments cancel out each other. You see? So it was interesting to find that out, because yes, we didn't take into effect of the dissatisfaction of customers, whereby they can also view and voice out their dissatisfaction. Okay, so what this means in terms of managerial implications is that yes, we need to monitor the consumer's engagement, both positive and negative, because we must protect the brand's online image. Okay, but we must never shy away from the interaction, because interaction is what creates personalization, and it's what creates the confidence of the consumer in the brand, because they feel that they are important, yeah, the consumers. And the way to really move forward in the digital space is that you have to constantly innovate. You have to constantly find new, creative, trendy ways to add value to the consumers. Don't just put out things out there that show what you are selling, but use that platform to educate, use that platform to create a community that people can share things with each other. So co-consumer creation of a brand. Okay, now that actually is the end of my what do you call this, the research. But what I would really like to add value on today for my presentation, if you allow me, is that I want to share with you a little bit about what I feel are some of the tips that people should use when it comes to power social media. Social media is, in its word, social. If you use social media and you only think about the media part to create your own status and your own personality, it's not enough. Remember that social media is about creating sociability. So be social. It's not just always about me alone. Sharing is caring. Like I always like to say, use the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, right, you need to share the love out as much as the 20% of people commenting on your own posts, okay? And I like to give you some examples of brands that did this very, very well. Firstly, of course, is Starbucks, okay? Starbucks created a website where they empower the consumers to develop products that sell, right? You see, if you had an idea that contributed to a big brand like Starbucks, wouldn't you want to buy that product, you know, because you co-created that product? So this co-creation, this collaboration and contribution boosts the probability of buying. And all these ideas are posted on social media and people can actually vote for it, okay? Another big brand that has done this very, very well was Coke. I'm sure you guys remember about Coke, the Share a Coke campaign, where customers could put names on the product packaging, right? I've tried this for a friend of mine for her birthday, and it worked. It really, really worked. Publicity came at little or no additional cost in terms of packaging, right? Because in this way, you can build brand loyalty, and it includes retweeting customers' content and putting customers in the spotlight on the social media. Wow, can you imagine Coke highlighting your name on their social media? You'd be like, oh, you know, you can act as a brand ambassador to Coke and without even you knowing it, right? Nike did a very good thing in terms of selling their story. In fact, you should think about selling stories, selling people's stories. I'm just going to focus on Nike here on the right hand side. Nike takes stories of athletes because athletes usually have very inspiring stories. Inspiring stories like these are what sells sporting goods. It's amazing because when we feel the humanness of a brand, this is what social media is all about, to feel the humanness of human connections. Nike used that same idea to create that social human connection with their customers by highlighting human stories. And that is what sold Nike's brand to the people, okay? And as an individual, if let's say you are building your own personal brand, when you go online, perhaps use tips on creating discussions, you know, like whenever you are giving a lecture, just make some very small little changes of creating discussions and likes. Use promotional merchandisers, you know, some people like to use online auction. This is how you can sell your merch, as well as invite people to be part of the demo. Now, imagine if a celebrity, right, goes online and do a live show, for example, and maybe one person is a super fan, for example, and that person gets invited. Let's say, okay, I can't cook, but anyway, let's say if I was on Gordon Ramsay's show, and Gordon Ramsay says, okay, I would like now to invite Derek to be part of this show. And I go, oh my God, Gordon Ramsay just called out my name and it's live on social media. See, it builds that resonance. It builds that consumer-based brand equity even more because the relationships are so strong. And that's how I see it, you know. So in that effect, we did this as a preliminary paper, and we also published this paper in the Asian Journal of Marketing and Logistics, I think early this year, sorry. And this was my team. I had a brilliant team. I give a shout out to all these teams. By the way, 2 of them are PhD students, not my PhD students. And one of them is an undergraduate student who did his master's, who did his PhD in less than 4 years. He is a brilliant guy. He's actually the first author of this paper. So good chops for him. I am so happy that this team did this project, because there is no better time now to create influence with social media marketing than now. Because everybody is stuck at home, for example, and everybody is on their digital spaces. So why not take the chance to do it? And if you guys want the paper, I can also give you the paper at the end of the this. So I think that's all I have to share. So if there's any questions, please, yeah, any questions? Ooh, typo.
Thanks, Derek. I don't have any questions, but I'm fascinated. Actually, I do have a question, because I want to know which image did we choose? How did we co-brand you? You're muted.
Yes, I'm going to show you right now. Let's see. It's the horny one. Everybody chose the horn. Okay, so I have to change my profile picture after this.
So you're obliged to change now.
Yes, because you guys co-created. In fact, when I did this presentation in Wellington in NSMAC last year, everybody chose the fan.
I chose that one. I was one of
you.
7% there.
Yeah. So I'm going to just post up very quickly. If you guys have any questions, please do ask me. The DOI for the paper that has been published, so you guys can also read the paper as well. Anyone?
Okay, I'm not very good at marketing, but I know we have some of our marketing team here, and I'd be fascinated to hear from Kenneth or Alif as to what they think about how this might apply to JCU Singapore marketing. How can we co-brand? Kenneth?
Hi, Denise. Thanks for getting me to one question. I think getting students to work together with us towards developing freebies and stuff like that. We often give out bags and little carrier bags. If students can actually design and have the taglines developed for JCU, I think that'll be a good option at co-branding. That will be actually something they want to carry rather than something that just has a JCU logo emblazoned across the entire bag, and they try to flip the bag around to hide the logo so they can carry it outside.
So they've got their own tag to carry. Yeah, carry with pride. There we go. We've got a takeaway from you already, Derek. Fantastic.
Wonderful. I think Naomi just asked a question, wondering if there's a particular social media most effective in co-creation or building communities. I'm guessing it changes with time. Naomi, it not only changes with time, it also changes with the target audience. Okay, kids today, it depends on their age group, of course. Love Instagram because for them a picture says 1,000 words. I'm more of very much a Facebook user instead, but only this year I've started becoming a little bit more active back with my Twitter and my Instagram, because at that time I thought that was just too much for me to handle. But now, because I have to teach certain digital marketing and certain marketing analytics, I have to go on these websites. But again, it depends on who you're reaching out to and what are you trying to reach out to. Obviously, you would not show your beach pictures on LinkedIn, okay? LinkedIn is also a professional picture, a professional platform, right? So it all depends on the audience, the time, and also what are you trying to build. Okay, I think Ching Chen said, how can one use LinkedIn for social media marketing for professional services? Well, this is how you brand yourself, you know. If you go through my LinkedIn, I'm sure Mark has already gone through my LinkedIn. you will see that I put up quite a lot of my webinar engagements, my papers, my publications on my LinkedIn. It's kind of like my online resume now. I use it as kind of like my online resume. I don't really have a lot of my social stuff, as in what I do on my own personal timing. That's on my Facebook. But on my LinkedIn, you really see a lot of my professional stuff, which I use. In a way, you have to decide how to find that balance that works for you. Okay. Now, if let's say you're an artist, okay, most artists I know don't use LinkedIn. What they use is YouTube, and YouTube now has a YouTube for Artists function, which they use to post up a lot of their clips that they perform in terms of music and in terms of arts and theater, right? I don't use my YouTube for Artists that much. I use my normal YouTube account because a lot of my lectures I put up on YouTube. I don't put up on anywhere else, because that's how I get people to engage with me. So if you go to my QR code, you would see that you will have access to my LinkedIn and my YouTube account as well. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Oh, Kenneth now has a question. Okay, corporate brands often have brand guidelines or persona they'd like to maintain. How can they maintain that persona when trying to co-create in their community? Well, you just said it. There are guidelines, you know. How forward-thinking is the brand? How much does the brand want to be in that space of their own identity, but at the same time also create their own community? Okay, a good way of looking at this would be, let's say Sunway University, okay, our own Sunway brand. Now, our logo doesn't change, but our topics has changed over the years, okay? Back then, we were all talking about education, education, education. Now, COVID-19 hit. What is the one thing that people want to see Sunway University as? They want to see Sunway University as a caring university, as a university that cares about the safety of their students and their staff. So a lot of the postings that went up on Sunway University was about, these are our SOPs, we are creating you confident to come back to our campus to ensure that you are safe, and so on and so forth. It is not about the promotion of our programs, but more of the promotion of our SOP. You see, building a brand is not building a logo. A logo is just a very small part of it. Building a brand is really, really all the activities that roll up together and encompasses what you stand for as an institution and as a brand. Okay, so I hope that explains. Denise mentioned the advances in China is making in digital marketing, right? It seems they are way ahead with e-commerce already. Do you see us following any trends stemming from China? Oh, dear me. I'm gonna say that when I visited Alibaba in the start of 2000. I can't remember, was it 2018 or 2019? Because I'm doing something for Alibaba as well, bringing our e-commerce students their lectures for our e-commerce students. And Alibaba, the city of Hangzhou, where Alibaba's main campus resides, so Alibaba Business School resides, is now on 5G. Now, back then, we were only talking about 5G. We were only discussing about, okay, how are we going to implement 5G, this and that, how are we going to iron out all the kinks of 5G, and so on and so forth. There, you have a whole city that's on 5G. Here in Malaysia, you only see certain parts of pockets of our city in 5G, not the whole of the city in 5G, but their whole city is in 5G. So in response to your question, yes, we are going to follow a lot of these trends. I mean, look at it. Never have we used so much of QR code scanning in the past 5 months, right? You know, so I mean, for those of you who are not QR code savvy, now you have to use a lot of QR codes because you want to save time, you want to save, you don't want to line up that long, you know, and that's what they are doing. Okay, of course, there is this apprehension by a lot of conspiracy theorists by saying that, oh, the government's going to take my data, they're going to use it, they're going to sell it, and so on and so forth. Again, I'm going to be a balance in this discussion, okay? You have a choice whether you want to give your data or not, right? You have a choice. The choice is yours. Whether or not you want to ride the wave together to give this data in terms of helping you with your daily routines in terms of online shopping and stuff like that, it's really entirely up to you, because nobody's going to force you to do it. But COVID-19 has upped the game, and COVID-19 has pushed the agenda forward even more. I have a lot of conspiracy theories that I can share with you, but I don't think this is the right platform for me to share it. I'm sure, Nigel, when you come back, I will share beer with you and then we'll talk about it a lot more. But we have to not lose our humanity. I think at the end of the day, even though we are going into the digital space, we must not lose our humanity. The day that we lose our humanity is the day that we give up ourselves to technology, and that's how I see things. Yeah, but yes, we are going to be adopting some, not all, of China's strategies. Yeah. Alif has asked me, based on my experience, what is the biggest mistake of social media marketing to avoid now? Good question. Very good question. Narcissism. That's my answer, Alif. Narcissism. Okay? Don't use your social media to build a narcissistic view of yourself. Because remember, social media is to be social, is to be engaging, not to promote yourself heavily to a point where people don't like you. Okay, you're supposed to get people to like you. You cannot force the like. Remember, it's also a human thing. You cannot force the like. You must allow people to build that relationship with you. And again, like I said, do not post things out only about yourself. You must also use the platform to give out the love, give out the caring, give out the sharing. I hope that answers your question. Yes, Denise. Yeah, China's e-commerce is a fascinating space, and trust me, if you were at Alibaba, you will go like, oh, same thing. Any other questions? I hope I've satisfactorily answered everybody's questions. Do you see a shift away from negativity? Denise, could you elaborate more on this? I don't understand what this means.
Yeah, Derek, I'm referring to your interesting finding that you didn't get the moderating effect that you anticipated because of the cancelling out. So is there any way that you could help to shift away from that negative so you get more of the gain? Savvy ways of you know, promoting.
Okay, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't tell you how people are going to react. All right. We have a distinguished psychologist in our midst, so I don't want to say anything that's going to put me in a jeopardy with him. But if I may, the same kind of I don't know whether there is. I haven't done this yet. Maybe in future I would like to see this. There is a different kind of psychology, and this is just my theory. There is a different kind of the psychological response when you are in an online space, because maybe of anonymity, and therefore people can't see who is saying all these negativity. They just want to vent out, but they don't want to let people know who is venting out. So it could be a different psychology altogether. And because of this different psychology game, therefore more needs to be done in terms of managing this relationship. Yeah. Again, like, I'm not a psychologist, I'm just theorizing that that could be it. Yeah. Yeah, can be useful to show part. Oh, okay. Okay, right. Does that answer your question, Denise?
Yeah, thanks. Because I think it's a tricky one and it's really interesting that it's something you hadn't anticipated finding, but it seems bleeding obvious once you find it, right? But then how do you get away from it? So it's another challenge. Yeah, interesting one. Thank you.
Now, I like what Belinda said about sharing the love. Does it mean sharing the posts of other universities then? Okay. This is a very good one. I like this. I want to respond to this. Not more of the university, but more of your other programs. Okay. Now, I am the advisor for my Sunway University Marketing Society. And recently, I've always asked my students to always post things on Sunway University Marketing Society events and stuff like that. Now, recently though, this was I think about a few years back, I noticed that my Sunway University Marketing Society started posting things from other clubs and societies as well. I did ask them, like, why are you guys like sharing other clubs and societies as well? And these clubs and societies are doing so well. You know what? They taught me. They said something to me that really put me in my place. And I thank my students for that. They actually said, sir, the more that we share of other things, they are also going to share ours as well. And I learned this from a good friend of mine who is also my HOD right now. And Nigel, you know who this person is. Okay. This friend of mine said, rather than you talking yourself up in front of other people, you get more credibility when other people talk up about you in front of other people. And that, I feel, was the main thing that really struck me at that point. Okay. Any mention, in your personal experience, could you share your thoughts on further development on social media channel? In other words, what are the further variant norms of advertising on social media platform? Well, because I don't have much time, I wanted to also say that there are many other different types. Okay, number one, when you're using Instagram, you got to make sure that your pictures are will say as much about your brand as possible. Okay, let's say if you're using your pictures on Instagram, think about using augmented reality. That is another way of getting people to interact with you, right? And online now, there are so many free trials, unfortunately it's free trials now, of augmented reality apps that you can use. And also getting augmented reality to the next level. In fact, I'm sure you guys know about Google AR animals on Google. I've used that before in my teaching. And my students love it, okay? Because I got them to create their Google animal. I don't know if I can find the picture, never mind, forget about it. So I was teaching e-commerce one day and I got my students, hey guys, why don't you, hey, see, Smart AR by Facebook is free. Thanks for that, Kenneth. I don't even know that. I'm going to go and look at that as well. I got my students to try out Google AR on their phone because I think the AR core is on their phone. And they took pictures of me teaching in their e-commerce class with a bear next to me, with a tiger next to me, with a panda next to me. So it was fun. It was fun. And I showed that as an example online. Yeah. So AR and many others. I'm sure as technology evolves, more and more things are going to come up. You just have to be willing to try it out and not be afraid, you know. What's the worst that can happen? You try it out, you fail. So what, right? Failure to me is just a stepping stone to better success, right? The more you fail, the better the success. That's how I see it. Okay. Any other questions? I'm liking this actually. I'm liking this interactivity. Any other questions? Anyone? Nope.
like we might have questioned you out, Derek. That was fascinating though. So just really useful, I think. Oh, hold on. Is that
yeah.
That's one question. Yeah.
Yeah. How can how can small SMEs or individuals stand out with what they assume are limited and budget? Do you need budget for your Facebook content? If you know how to use your social media space well, you don't need to spend a single money. My YouTube channel, I'm actually making, by the way, I just made $20 on my YouTube channel when I started doing MCO. So it's only $20, it's only $20. I did not spend a single cent. All I did was I go on Professor Google and Professor YouTube. I learned from them how to do videos, and I just posted out the videos online. And that's it. You don't need budget. You just have to be creative enough to be resourceful. Everybody can do it. And I mean this with the sincerity of heart. Anybody can do it. I think my best friend is here, and she always tells me that she has problems using, when we went on online teaching, my best friend is here, by the way. Liz, are you there? You're there. I know you're there.
Yes, thanks, Derek.
I have to put my hats off to her because she took the horns of going online teaching and she did it with such pizzazz and such determination, and she made it. Okay, so really anybody can do this. Doesn't matter at which stage of your digital savviness is. Anybody can do it. Yeah, anybody. Okay, maybe I can take one more question if there's anybody, or one more comment or anyone. Yeah. Nope. I think everyone's good. Okay, yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, Professor Derek. Is it okay if I post the links to your LinkedIn and YouTube channel here in the chat?
Please do. Please do. Yeah,
right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so everyone, for your information, you can find the links in the chat for Professor Derek's LinkedIn as well as the YouTube channel. And if there's no more questions for Professor Derek, I would like to thank first of all Professor Derek for presenting for agreeing to come and present today for today's Greenback session. We really appreciate it. This is very new for us because this is the first one that's being handled by the HDR students, and thank you for supporting all of us. And yeah, no more questions. Then thank you so much for coming today, everybody, to our Greenback seminar. We really appreciate your presence today.
I'm going to also send Mark or whoever is on the email my slides so that you can send the slides to everyone else as well and share the presentation to everyone. Yeah. Sure, that'll be great. The session is being recorded as well, so we'll also send out the link together. Okay, sure. All right. Okay. Okay. Right. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Very much appreciated. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, buddy. See ya.